Lads, what is going on? It is a bonus hour of Happy Hour. Lucky you. Unless you're tuning in hoping to hear Duck Insider today, that will not be happening. Our friends down in Eugene are playing a baseball game against Gonzaga. That will happen at 1:45 over on 910 ESPN Portland. So if you want your Ducks, that's where you find them. We will be back to regularly scheduled programming tomorrow. Is Gonzaga good at baseball? I don't know. Are the Ducks good at baseball? Maybe. I'm not sure. But if you care about that stuff and you don't care about what I'm saying, you're probably going to have to wait till 1:45. You can switch over to anything else, but I'd like to encourage you to stick around. We're going to talk some Blazers today. I've done my deep dive into whether or not the World Baseball Classic is ruining the season of your favorite team. We've got the draft breakdown from Casey Smith. He's going to compare his grade of his mock to the other mock drafts. This is kind of a wild story. I was making fun of mock drafts the other day, and we found out Casey has been doing them since he was a teenager, so we put him up against the best. So if you want to catch that, we also have a musical treat for you, and we will start with some bumper music during this bonus hour that has quite the inspiration. But we need to start with the NBA playoffs because we have Game 5, Blazers-Spurs, and I think there's a lot of discouragement. There's a lot of sad sacking going on around Rip City, and I don't want to hear it. Your team is in the postseason. That's what you were hoping for at the beginning of the season. If you sat everybody down that was wearing their pinwheels, their red and black, their enthusiasm for the Blazers this season couldn't have been so high that you thought preseason that Chauncey Billups was about to turn everything around and put the team into the Western Conference Final. Maybe they make it into the NBA Finals. Nobody thought that. Did you hear anybody in your friends, circle of friends, in the media, in the world that thought the Blazers were going to take a huge jump and all of a sudden be contending for a championship? No. Nobody thought that. What was this year about? Let's see if Chauncey can coach. Let's see if there's anybody on this team that can be an all-star and can be a piece that you build around moving forward. Now,
developing the young guys.
Now, the Chauncey thing, let's be honest, that went off the rails real quick. So if you hated Chauncey, hey, he took himself out of the equation, so then it immediately shifted to, all right, well, is Tiago Splitter the guy? Is the team going to be sold? All of those things. You got a new owner. That's what everybody wanted. The second you get him, all of a sudden he's in charge of putting T-shirts on every single seat in the postseason by himself. The reaction to having a new owner, to me, is insane. The reaction to the old owner was already insane. So that is aside. So the team has been sold. You've got somebody that has a winning tradition with the other professional sports franchise he owns. That's a big thumbs up, right? That's to be something we're excited about. Do we have any stars, any all-stars on this team? Yeah, you did. Denny Advia was an all-star. He was the 15th leading scorer in the NBA. Is he a piece that you can build around? Can you keep him? Tumani Kamara, Donovan Clingan taking another step forward. You've got some pieces. Do you need to add more? Of course you do, but we knew that going in. Have the moves that Joe Cronin has made in his time secured him a job moving forward? Maybe, maybe not. Guess what? The new ownership group gets to decide all that. And then when it's all said and done, the season is over, you make it into the playing game, and you make it into the postseason. Who thought that it was going to be more than that? Who thought that the season would be better if we tanked? We talked about this a little bit yesterday. So far in this series, people have been on an emotional roller coaster throughout Rip City, right? They have gone up and down with the runs during the game, the win in Game 2, Wemby's out, Wemby's back in. It's been tough, but we all said going into this, maybe they win a game, maybe two. They won their one game.
And
now everybody's
upset.
It's just so funny how we are fairly accurate with our prediction this season for this team. Yet when you actually see how you get to that prediction, it becomes very discouraging. You might only have one more game of the season. Might as well root for your team. Why not? They'll be out of the tournament if they lose tonight, and you can pick somebody else to root for. So my question is, if the Blazers are out, who are you rooting for? Casey, I know that you're a big Charlotte Hornets fan, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry that the writers felt some reason that they should vote Cooper Flagg as Rookie of the Year and not your boy, the long Con Knueppel. It's a travesty.
Just killing my bet slips this year.
What's that?
Just killing my bet slips this year.
Yeah, well, and you know what? That was one of those things where I think all these people expected him to be the Rookie of the Year, and so they just voted for him based on what they hoped he would. Let's be honest. The long con was the better player. You got ripped off. I know your Charlotte Hornets didn't make it in. So let's take the Blazers out of it. I think there's just too much emotion tied to our team, right?
Agreed.
So let's move on from that. Spurs look pretty good. Thunder just got their sweep. The Pistons, which another one of your betting slips, is not looking great. You finally had a bounce back with Jokic. He's got something going on now that you've lost key players for the Timberwolves. Can they come back from a 3-1 deficit? Lakers have been looking pretty good. I know the last game against the Rockets was not as good. LeBron had a couple bad games back-to-back. Marcus Smart and Luke Kennard are out there fighting people and getting fined, all of that. Is there somebody that you're rooting for, and is there somebody that you expect to run away with this thing?
I think I expected Denver to run away with this, so I think I'm very shocked.
The postseason or just a series?
The series and the postseason in general.
Yeah, they finished the regular season strong. They looked really good in game one against the Timberwolves.
I really thought they were a much stronger defensive team than Minnesota is claiming them to be. I mean, Jaden McDaniels was very outspoken about how, again, they just don't play defense.
Everybody's bad. Their entire starting lineup bad at defense. And of course, he was pretty bad last night, too. So you go on the road, get booed. You can talk a lot of trash. It's pretty fun to do when you're at home. And all of a sudden, you got the backing of everybody. You're feeling all big. And then what do you have, 13 and 5 turnovers? I think he was a minus 29 in his minutes.
Yeah, but then you have a guy like Ayo Dosunmu who just drops 43 off the bench.
The NBA is full of guys given the opportunity that can fill it up. Now, can they do it consistently? And that's where you get started.
And do they play in Portland?
Scoot Henderson. Well, no, I mean, listen, after game 2, did we not expect Scoot to run away with the series?
Oh, we did.
And he just made the star turn. This guy's a dog. And I saw literally on Twitter the x-ray of his chest with a bunch of dogs in there. Give me a break. Anybody is capable of having a big game from time to time. You put the ball in somebody's hand where you don't have a scouting report on them, watch out. We see it all the time. So, to be determined what happens there. So, Nuggets right now, you're writing them off?
I'm writing them off because I think I'm all in on Minnesota. I really do like the fact that the bench has a lot of juice. The injuries will keep their, the stars kind of out of the way of the conversation where you don't have Ant Edwards kind of plaguing what's going on. And
so they're better without Ant, is what you're telling me.
I wouldn't say that, but I'd say I think they're a little more enjoyable to watch.
Okay, well, tell me what happens next then. So Minnesota gets out of round 1. They will take on the winner of the Blazers Spurs, right?
Yep.
So now you got to take on either Wemby or the most miraculous turnaround, which would turn the Blazers into the hottest team ever. And somebody has to do something, whether it's a red-hot Scoot or Denny just taking no prisoners as he goes to the hole every time. You would take Minnesota over either team that wins this series. I'm kind of being a little facetious thinking that the Blazers could do it. But, hey, if they do, it would be quite the turnaround.
If Naz Reid can stay healthy and he can be around for a series against the Spurs.
Okay. I mean,
Minnesota.
You got Rudy Gobert. You got a defensive player of the year snub. Didn't even make the top 3 this year. He's mad about that. I think he would relish the idea of taking on Wemby in a series. So I can get that. Now, Oklahoma City just swept the Suns pretty dominantly. They are the defending champs.
Is that a bigger indictment on the Suns, or is that just how... Did we expect this, or?
Oh, absolutely. I don't think there's any question about it. I mean, there's the team I mean, we talked about this earlier. I mean, you have SGA, who's the reigning MVP, who just won the Michael Jordan Trophy for the most clutch player, had more clutch points with fewer fourth quarter minutes than anybody else on the list. This is a team, I think, that knows who they are. They can win a lot of different ways, and I think that it was a foregone conclusion that they would beat the Suns, but it's an 8-1 matchup. Most of the time, those are. Now, we have a different story going on in the Eastern Conference right now, but I think most of the time you walk into the series going, yeah, the one seed's going to win. Stack on top of it, defending champ. Stack on top of it, reigning MVP. Stack on top of it, just the idea that the Suns have been so dysfunctional for a couple of years and didn't really have a dominant, path through anything this year. Like there's no great team in front of them. I mean, they lost to the Blazers and then beat a Warriors team that, did everything they could to beat the Clippers and then ran out of gas in the play-in tournament. So it wasn't like there's 4 good teams in there. Whoever gets out can do some damage. I kind of saw that coming, but I don't want to say that the Suns being bad diminishes all the positive that the Thunder have going for them. But you're taking Minnesota to run out of the. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if they get out of that series.
I like it. I think.
Right.
I think they'll have a lot of guys step up and have some big baskets in this next game.
Well, let's just remind our listeners that do not normally hear us because we're on a little bit early today. What were the betting slips that you put money on? So Pistons, Con Knippel winning the Rookie of the Year.
Cade Cunningham MVP and Con Knippel Rookie of the Year.
All right, so let's just let's go ahead and take whatever you say about the Timberwolves with a grain of salt.
Yeah,
shall we? All right, there is a story that I honestly thought this would go away very quickly, and every single day there is a new headline. There is a new angle on the story. There is a new photo being released, and today, somehow this story has a soundtrack now. We've got a playlist. We'll tell you what that is next. It is Bonus Hour of Happy Hour, 105.1 The Fan.
The biggest...
Oh my. If you know and love this song, you'll be happy to know that it was part of a new compilation that I am fully ready to celebrate and embrace. So once upon a time, if you were, in love and you had somebody that you wanted to, show how you cared about them, you would painstakingly go through and press play and record at the same time, and you would craft the treasured item that was a mixtape. Now things have gotten a lot easier. In my youth, we went from mixtapes to burning CDs, and I still have some of them laying around my house somewhere of mixtapes that I made for my wife when we first started dating. I mean, just one of the more romantic gestures. It's all gone online. So here's the funny thing is if you make a mixtape today, it's got fingerprints. It is living online, and a sleuth has gone through the archives that are Spotify and found a playlist crafted by one Diana Rossini that she sent to somebody named Mike. The playlist was called Turn the Page, and it coincided with a Tennessee Titans losing streak. It was delivered to this guy named Mike in December of 2022. And all of the bump back music during the bonus hour will be part of that playlist. And we started with Photograph because that's how the whole thing got rolling. Thank you, Def Leppard. Tip of the cap to you. I honestly thought this Diana Rossini, Mike Vrabel thing would pop up. Oh, look, people in sports are being scumbags again, and we would move on. But this has been quite the saga. So just to catch everybody up, if they have not been paying attention to what is going on. So on April 7th, Page 6 published pictures from a Sedona resort of Vrabel and Rossini. They had to issue statements saying that this was misleading and laughable. On the 10th of April, The Athletic, which is owned by the New York Times, did an internal investigation. On the 14th of this month, Rossini resigned without admitting anything. She was just trying to protect, what was it, her image, or didn't want to give any breath to the story. It's so laughable that I have to resign. Okay. Well, then Vrabel finally broke his silence in a press conference where he acknowledged that he had to have, and I just feel bad for him, difficult conversations with his family. On the 23rd of this month, new photos appeared of the two of them back in 2020 at a bar and a casino in Biloxi. There was another announcement from Vrabel that said he was going to skip the final day of the NFL draft so he could seek counseling, which... I'm sorry, one day of counseling was all we needed to get over, whatever it was. So obviously very distressful for his family, not great for his image. He's trying to be a leader of men. So a single day of counseling, that should take care of everything. Well, on the same day, Diana Rossini deleted her X or Twitter account. At some point, she saved an old man from a rollover, or maybe it was her and old man saved a young man in a car accident. This whole thing has turned into quite the drama-filled production. I mean, it's a ready-made TV movie. There's a picture of Diana Rossini at some point where she commented on a picture of her staring at her newborn going, whose name is Mike, by the way, and she was pondering, who are the greatest Mikes that were professional football players and professional football coaches? This story has a lot more layers, and they will keep being dug up. But today's newest is a Spotify playlist. Does it get any better than this story? Like, what else do you need in a saga?
Have you seen the airport photos yet?
So he's in Salt Lake. I didn't actually see the photos, but I did see a headline that there were photos. So
well, he made a purchase.
Oh,
I don't know what the purchase of, but in an airport.
He's in the Salt Lake airport. Apparently, the
airport.
Vrabels have a Park City home. That's what I saw.
Vrabel did a little shopping and picks up what looks like a women's sweater.
Well, he does have a wife. Apology sweater, or was it a...
That, again, the headlines read...
Dude. Can he
Mike
coach?
Vrabel jets to Salt Lake City mid-NFL draft, buys wife apology present
Okay, so it was
after
for...
Diana Rossini photo scandal.
So he checked the size. Like reporters just running into the store. What size was that? Oh, that's going to fit his wife, not his girlfriend.
And my favorite tweet about this is, sorry about my 6-year-long affair. Here's a hoodie.
Oh, so it was a sweatshirt, not a sweater.
A sweatshirt.
Those are two very different things. Those airport sweaters, those can be pricey. Our airport's got a Pendleton. I can't imagine.
It's an airport sweatshirt with no hood. So
okay. We just want to make sure. Does it say fly Salt Lake City or something on it? Like, that would be fantastic. So my question for you is, can Mike Vrabel coach this year? Like, is he going to be the man in charge when we get to opening day in New England? Like, it just keeps getting...
Did Stephon Diggs play in the Super Bowl?
Yes, but this is
a lot less bad optically than Stephon Diggs?
It's an NFL reporter who has resigned from her job. So part of the reason that she had to resign is the idea that their relationship gave her access to insider secrets that other people were not getting, right? The whole idea is if there was an investigation that they were trading sex for information, that would be in violation of her job as a journalist. So the New York Times, who owns The Athletic, they did the investigation. She resigns. So she has lost her job because of this. Well, the only way to trade sex for secrets is a two-way street. So if it started that way, and this is something that's been going on, who knows if this has anything to do with part of the reason that the Tennessee ownership thought that it was not a good idea to stay in the Mike Vrabel business, which we all thought was because he's kind of a bully and intimidating and whatever it was. Behind the scenes now, he's got a lot more baggage than we realized. He was defended and based on performance, he took his team to a Super Bowl in the first year as a head coach. That feels like the performance has warranted, us making fun of Tennessee for a very long time. But if his job is to go out and be this leader and do all this, every time we talk about Filetgate, it feels like we're talking about the Patriots for the wrong reason. He's 1 year in, so if you're going to do it, it might be now. I mean, the Patriots have weathered the other storms, so Robert Kraft might be just fine sitting there and rolling with the punches with this. But the next time he gets in front of a microphone, the questions aren't going to be about his quarterback. They're not going to be about his draft, where he was not there because he was at counseling. So the whole thing is a huge distraction. It's a leadership position that feels like there's less of a performance timeline where it's like Stephon Diggs has a very limited window where he's one of the best receivers at what he does. Mike Vrabel has to live with this for a long time. He could be the coach of the Patriots for the next 15 years. I mean, he's a young enough guy that he could do that, or even longer. But as a way to start your tenure and have something that is so interweaving with the business of football, it's pretty bad. Pretty bad. I mean, so, you're saying, well, who cares? He went to the Super Bowl. Just let it go. Other people do bad things, so let's go.
That's not what I'm saying.
No, I probably said it a little harsher than I need to. So let's hear what
I'm saying is that the NFL is really good at sweeping things under the rug.
Yeah, but this is a month of this now. So this one has not been swept under the rug. I guess that's my point.
I guess that's what I'm trying to get at, is that the NFL has been really great at doing it in the past. The fact that this hasn't gone away, a little bit scary for, I guess, if I'm a incoming rookie, if I'm a veteran on his last licks, if I'm a free agent looking to sign somewhere. It makes it a little bit scary.
Yeah, well, there are a lot of NFL players that have had these scandals. There's a lot more NFL players that the first thing they do after winning the game, bump their chest, point up, and thank their Lord and Savior. So there is a lot of faith tied to football. And so if that does look at it and you see that this guy has not only cheated on his wife, he's been caught, he's lied, this affair went on for a very long time, who knows how that affects free agency and the reputation of the team. I mean, like I said, the Patriots have been mired in scandal after scandal, so they seem to get past it. There's only 32 of these jobs. There's only 32 teams that you can play for. If the Patriots are the ones that want you, and you look at it and go, I don't know if I could play for a guy like that, and then you see the million signs tick up and up and up, and you see their performance over the last couple years, and you realize that you get a chance to play with a runner-up for the MVP and all of those things. I'm not saying that those don't outweigh it, but boy, this is just quite the saga, and maybe it's because it's unique. Maybe it's because it is a down period. I mean, I know the draft is a big thing, but there are no games being played. A lot of times we see these things that happen in the offseason, and you get to game number one, everybody forgets about them. Like the second you get out there and you have a major injury or a bad loss or whatever it is, it goes right back to business as usual. We've all been through this cycle enough times to know that. So maybe it's just something that the Patriots put their head down and go, this is what we do. We ignore it until we get to football, and then you're going to start hearing Mike Vrabel sound a lot more like Bill Belichick, who, has his own relationship issues that we don't need to dive into.
Get closed off, hoodie on, and maybe a little bit defensive.
Yep. On to Seattle. Like it's... So maybe that's what happens, maybe not. But this doesn't look good. If you're Mike Vrabel, what do you do? Just stick with it. Just put your head down. Try to fly private.
I think you stop buying hoodies at the airport.
We've already discussed this. There was no hood. The good news about this is it made it very easy for us to pick bump back music. We'll take a look at the entire playlist in pieces as we go forward with bonus hour. But right now, we need to walk over to the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk and see what we've missed.
First on the fan, in something of an insurance move, the Pittsburgh Steelers have placed a rarely used, unrestricted free agent tender on Aaron Rodgers.
We're not saying he's coming back, but if he's going to come back, we want to be the first ones to talk to him.
The unrestricted free agent tender preserves the Steelers' right to receive a compensatory draft pick in the event that Rodgers signs with another team, while also limits his ability to sign with another team once training camp begins. The Steelers will have exclusive negotiating rights for Rodgers if he does not sign with another team by July 22nd or the first day of Steelers training camp.
It doesn't mean that they're going to have Aaron Rodgers on their team, but they're kind of protecting themselves if he wants to come back and they choose not to sign him, then at least they get something for it. So from a business standpoint, it's the right move. I am not a Steelers fan. You are.
When I wake up every morning and I look up to the Lord and go, hey, please no Aaron Rodgers, and then I open my phone and the Steelers do it every morning. It's a tweet about, will we have Aaron? Will we? It's more non-news. It's more, we might have Aaron.
Say what you want about Aaron Rodgers, but as far as we know, he is faithful to his imaginary wife.
I really hope it doesn't end with Aaron. And for more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Casey Smith from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
The home of prime time with Isaac.
This another track from the Spotify playlist that Diana Rossini sent to someone named Mike back in 2022. It's called Turning the Page. This was kind of around the same time the Titans were going through a little bit of a losing streak. We will continue to play you songs from the set list that hopefully was something that helped Mike, get that good feeling back, right? Just go out there and be a renegade, young man. I don't think she noticed that was a Steelers song and he was with the Titans. But hey, what are you going to do? One of the things that I've been musing about for, I don't know, a couple weeks now maybe, the World Baseball Classic. You and I have been doing this show together long enough that you know that I was reluctant to get in and support the World Baseball Classic. It's never been an event that I have thrown my full fandom into for whatever reason. I don't really have a good thought on why. I just never really got into it. Maybe I just wasn't ready for full-fledged single elimination playoff baseball in March. I've always been kind of the same way with the Ryder Cup. It's an event that I should like. I enjoy watching golf. I like the competition aspect of it. I hate Europe. I mean, it feels like a thing that I could always get behind. But for whatever reason, some of these, national competitions, I just hadn't got behind. Well, this year, the World Baseball Classic grabbed me. And so I watched it probably closer than I ever had. And now watching the beginning of this baseball season, I couldn't help but notice that the teams that had the most roster spots on the World Baseball Classic teams were off to terrible starts. So I did a little bit of research. I went on to the internet. I asked the Google machine. I was like, hey, is this something that happens? Is there a World Baseball Classic hangover? Found a couple articles, a couple podcasts from 2023 where people explored it a little bit. So it was on people's mind. There was a couple things like maybe a Facebook post and a Reddit question that was out there about 2026, but nobody had done any deep reporting. So I was like, well, let me put on my journalist hat and go and take a look at it and see if I can figure out how the World Baseball Classic is ruining baseball for major league teams.
What'd you find?
Well, let me give you the context for this year. Right now, the teams that are the farthest off their projected win percentages. So you can't really there's not a lot of people predicting how many wins a team will get through April, right? It's a pretty short sample size. And when we talked about this last week a little bit, I was looking at it and going, all right, well, how do we even quantify what this is? So I just figured, hey, let's go and take a look at a team, let's say the Philadelphia Phillies, who are off to a terrible start. Their projected win percentage for this year is .562. Their current win percentage right now through April 27th is .321. It is not great. That is the biggest difference between any team's two projections, their projection and where they're at right now. Now, it's a long season, and there's a lot of variables in this, so I don't want to pretend that this is the end-all, be-all, because everybody's played a different schedule. You've had games home and away. You've played division games. You've played interleague games. You've played a lot of different types of schedules because they're never going to be equivalent at this point. But the Phillies are trash. They had 15 players go to the World Baseball Classic. The team with the most players that went to the World Baseball Classic is the Mets. They had 19 players go this year. Their projected win percentage, .549. They're also at .321. They're also they don't have as big of a gap because they had a little less percentage. Mm-hmm. But right now, almost 2.5 points off of where their win percentage was supposed to be a month into the game. The 10 worst teams in baseball to this point from their projections compared to what they're actually doing. Phillies, 15 guys went to the World Baseball Classic. The Mets had 19. The Red Sox had 17. They've been awful. The Astros only sent 3 players, but their entire pitching staff is hurt or just awful to start.
And they were trying to send more players.
They were, but the idea is that the disruption that happens in spring training, if you spend a bunch of guys, not only do guys get out of rhythm, but you lose some of that team chemistry that you build and all of the things from a roster building standpoint and comparing your prospects to the guys on your current roster. You just lose a lot of time with that. Blue Jays are off by the next most. They sent 14 guys. The Royals sent 15. The Baltimore Orioles only sent 11, which is kind of the middle of the track, so I don't have them as one of the people that sent the most. And the Mariners sent 17. The Giants would be your 10th team. They are definitely going in the wrong direction, but they only sent 10 guys to the World Baseball Classic.
But so all teams with very underwhelming starts. So it feels like right now, just by looking at this, that it does not look good. The teams that are doing okay, they're a little bit below their win percentage track, but not by much. The Brewers sent 14 guys. The Cubs are a little ahead of pace. They sent 13 guys. The Diamondbacks sent 17. They're a little bit ahead of pace. Pirates and the Yankees are all doing well, that sent a lot of guys. So it's not a perfect comparison. So I went back to 2023 and I did the same little exercise to see how far off the teams were from their projections based on how many guys that they sent. And it doesn't correlate at all. It's not even, I wish it was, but honestly, it's not. The A's only sent 8 players. They were awful to start the season. They were off by 2 full points going down. The Cardinals sent a bunch of people and were way off, but the top 10, most of them didn't send that many guys. So there's not necessarily a hangover. It certainly feels like it this year, but I went back and I looked at it and it shot my theory right out of the water. So there does not seem to necessarily be a hangover. What I did find, 2 of the teams that are on this list, both in 2023 and 2026 and the years in between, Seattle Mariners and San Francisco Giants. So does it prove that the Marine layer makes things tough? Not necessarily, but kind of. So listen, if you want to blame it on the World Baseball Classic, go ahead. At least for this season, there seems to be something, and the more enthusiasm. The tough part of it is it's going, all right, which teams did everybody go to? How long did those teams play in the World Baseball Classic? How many guys went and stayed? Because if you watch the pitching, a few guys will go. Tarek Skubal's one of those guys. He goes, I'll make one start, and then he goes back to Tigers camp. So there's too many factors to say that definitively yes or no, but at least in like my quick spot research, I've been kind of ringing that bell a little bit. I've got some people interested. You heard me talking with Patrick Harris this morning. His ears perked right up. I brought it up to Isaac Ropp in between our shows last week. He's like, oh, that is really interesting. The teams this year, for sure, the teams that are trash, the majority of them sent a ton of guys to the World Baseball Classic. But just looking at 2023 and looking back at 2020 was such a weird year anyways, I kind of started to look at the data. I'm like, oh, it's a COVID season anyways. That one's an anomaly.
So that's what I mean. So there's not enough data. There's really not that many World Baseball Classics, but I'm not going to let it go. If we get to 2029 and you see the same thing going, and you see if the popularity of the World Baseball Classic climbs and the slow starts continue, baseball is an analytic sport, man. I'm not going to be.
The trend is starting,
but I'm not going to be the one that makes that change. Teams will notice very quickly if that seems to be a problem. But right now, the other thing that I'm noticing is Cal Raleigh, or what's his name, Hal Bally. He was off to a terrible start. The weird thing about the World Baseball Classic, though, is he didn't really play that much. Now he's away from his team and away from his routine, and maybe not playing can be a little bit detrimental.
Well, maybe that could have been because a manager goes, he doesn't start well, and he doesn't have a great start to the season.
Yeah, well, he has kind of turned things around. He now has 7 home runs in the last 10 games and is not quite on the pace that he was last year. But if you go back and look at the 2025 season where he hit 60 home runs, if we just do it by month, he had 1 in March, he had 9 in April, he had 12 in May, 11 in June, 9 in July, 8 in August, and 10 in September. So a guy that can get home runs in bunches just got a bunch of home run in bunches. Now, I don't know if anybody catches Murakami, who is just blasting the ball out of the park. Every other hit is a home run. He has 25 hits and 12 home runs right now to start his Major League Baseball career. There are a lot of guys a lot of guys hitting a lot of home runs early this season, and a lot of them play for the Yankees. So I don't know how many home runs there will be by the end of the season, but you've got more guys throwing the ball 100 miles an hour and more guys hitting out of the ballpark to start the season than we've seen in a very long time. So let's move on from the World Baseball Classic. It's not ruining baseball. Your problem is that you decided that you were going to root for the Phillies and the Mets. That's what your real problem is. So I tried, guys. I tried to figure out a reason why the Mariners were so bad. Guess what? If they win the next 2 against the Twins, they're at 500 at the end of the month. I'm fine with that. The teams that have a long way to claw back, sorry, I wish I had a good excuse for you. It's not the World Baseball Classic. Speaking of us doing some deep dive journalism, you tried it, my friend. You went and did a full 7-round mock draft.
I did.
We're not going to compare your full 7 round, but let's see how your first couple rounds did against the experts. This will be whether or not you sign up for the Casey Smith lowercase NFL newsletter. It's just $9.95 a month, and it might be worth it. You'll figure out the results and whether or not you need to start investing in this kid right now when we talk about his draft analysis. We do that next. It is bonus hour of Happy Hour on 105.1 and the Fan Sports Network. On the journey, the songs that we're playing are from Diana Rossini's mixtape she made on Spotify and sent over to a guy named Mike back in 2022. The Last Resort is, of course, being played because they were caught at a resort in Sedona. We started with Photograph because that's really what kicked this whole thing off, is when Page Six decided to do the photographs. If you want to make your own playlist, there's a little Beyonce on there. There's some Pink. You get the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Of course, Papa Roach there, Guns N' Roses, Def Leppard. I mean, the romance, you can just feel it when you listen to this playlist. So if you want to have the same kind of love that Diana Rossini and Mike Vrabel have been secretly hiding for years, just go onto Twitter. You can find the playlist. It's all over the place. This saga does not seem to end, but eventually you imagine that it will, and I can't wait to see what is next in this little love story. It's too good. But we got business to do. We got report cards to give out. So one of my favorite things is going and comparing all the grades that your team gets for your NFL draft and looking back and going, all right, how'd they do? Well, this outlet says they got a C. This one says it's a B+. This one says B-. This one says there's no way that you should have taken Jadarian Price that high. There's no way that Bud Clark was the right pick in the second round. We're not going to know any of this stuff, but you can grade your own mock draft, which, you know what? You've got me coming around. I thought these things were such a waste of time just a few weeks ago. You've convinced me that there is maybe a tiny bit of value in these.
There's some juice to it.
There's juice.
There's juice to it.
There's a tiny bit of value, but it creates a lot of conversation. It's kind of fun, and you took the time to do a mock draft. You graded yours yesterday. But how did your grades compare with the pros, lowercase?
Well, I'm looking at Pete Schrager's mock draft right now. He just has the first round up. So I think he did pretty good.
What happened to the rest of his mock draft? And you're just looking at it now? You made the fatal mistake. Did you print out the final copy that was released before the draft? Or are you looking at the one that the internet is showing you now that he went in and went, hey, let's make sure that we get this copy out? He didn't make it too good.
No, this is the one where he went on Pat McAfee and promoted his mocks.
Okay, so what was his accuracy level? Did he have Ty Simpson going? Did he know about the secret meeting?
He did not have Ty Simpson going in the first round.
Shock. Oh, not even in the first round?
Not in the first round.
Okay. And neither did you, right?
No, I didn't. I had him going in the second round to the Jets.
Wait, no. I thought you had him going at 16 to the Jets. Didn't you have him in the first round? Was that 1.0?
That was 1.0. 1.0 had him going at 16 to the Jets.
All right.
I had him going in the second round. But looking around, I got a lot of picks right. I got the Spencer Fano pick right, David Bailey, Fernando Mendoza.
Could you stop taking credit for the Fernando Mendoza? I would have got that right.
Blake Miller, Caleb Lomu, Peter Woods, Caden McDonald, Denzel Boston, Cassius Howell, Lee Hunter.
Where did Denzel Boston go?
Denzel Boston went to the Browns at 39.
No relation to David Boston. I don't know if you've ever looked that up. Yeah. Okay, so you did know that, but I don't know if people know that. Denzel Boston out of Washington. So, yeah. All right, so how did you do compared to old Schrags?
I beat him in the first round.
Woo! Look at that.
The big one was that he had Caden McDonald, which was the deciding factor. I beat him by 1. He had Caden McDonald going at 26 to the Bills. Caden McDonald got drafted at 36, where I thought he would get drafted to the Houston Texans.
Look at you. So not only did you beat him in the first round, you got the pick that he got wrong as a deciding factor correct in the second round.
Yep.
Nice work. All right, who else? Who's next on the Casey hit list? Who else? Daniel Jeremiah,
Matt Miller, and Jeremy Fowler.
Okay.
I would say of the mock drafts, I'd probably use theirs and Schrager's the most.
Okay.
I kind of blew them out of the water too.
Oh man,
they had Monroe Freeling going to the Steelers. They had Jermod McCoy going to the Chargers. Jermod McCoy didn't even get drafted in the first round.
Oh, embarrassing. What are these guys doing? Is anybody a talent scout listening from ESPN right now? Can we get, well, I don't want you gone from here, so don't take this the wrong way. But man, let's get you on national television spouting your gospel of the draft. Who else? So that's
I guess that's the big one, is that mainly in the first round is where I had most of my success. I had a few picks in the second round.
But every time a pick comes off the board in the wrong spot, that affects the rest of your draft. So everybody's is going to deteriorate as they go on. So you've beaten Schrager. You've beaten both Fowler and Miller.
Yep.
Okay, who else you got? Take down the next one.
I guess I got to look at McShay's.
Yeah, let's see what McShay did. If you're beating McShay, Kuiper, Daniel Jeremiah, now we've got something going on. Let's figure out, like, if you've got more first-round picks, then why are we letting these scumbags go out and do any mock drafting at all?
I might have tied him.
Okay.
Because he did correctly have Caleb Downs going to Dallas. And he did correctly pick Ty Simpson going at 13. That I did not have.
Wait, McShay had that?
McShay had it.
So he had him going at 13 to the Rams.
McShay's mock draft 5.0 had him going at 13 to the Los Angeles Rams.
Is that the one that he does on Friday after the draft?
That one I don't know. I don't know when it was updated.
No,
it says it was updated a week ago, so I don't know what date it was updated.
Yeah, but okay, so how are we all so shocked when one of the bigger names in drafting had him? Like, so the big story today is now that
oh no, I smoked him out of the water in the late round. Yeah, he had Mekhi Lemon to the Browns, Keldrick Folk to
this is later in the first round?
Later in the first round. So from about 22 to about 32, I haven't beat.
Okay. Well, what good are all of these guys if you, a relatively new, and you admittedly use some of their insight to get this.
Yeah, I mean.
So what do you attribute this to? Is this more the guys that actually have access to GMs and coaches are just being lied to?
I think a little bit is.
Is this GMs? Is this the Sean McVays and the
Les
Les Sneads going, hey, let's make this a private meeting. We'll pretend we never talked.
I mean, if they could throw the scent off the trail of a certain draft pick and then end up in a position to go get another guy just because of some guy's article, not a bad place to be.
Well, let's put you in the shoes of a NFL executive. If people are coming around asking you what your plans are for the draft, do you think you would be more forthcoming or more cloak and dagger?
Very cloak and dagger about it.
Okay. So maybe it's just that the closer you get to this thing, the more difficult it is. I mean, because what's the real value in letting somebody know? I mean, the Rams are getting a lot of heat for the why would you make this a secret and all of that, but it's how does it benefit you for people to know who the number one guy on your draft board is? That's what I can't figure out, is what's the benefit of people knowing? Them suspecting is one thing, but them knowing that that's the guy you're going to take just means that you have to take them earlier than you otherwise would, because if people know, all they can do is jump ahead of you if somebody likes the same guy. So, yeah, I guess I don't understand the benefit that anybody has of going out and telling the truth.
I think if you do tell the truth, then you show your cards.
But you have to tell enough truth that people will publish what you say. So I guess it is. I mean, it's all just a game. These guys are all very competitive. The jobs are obviously very lucrative. The consequences of a good draft versus a bad draft are pretty dramatic. If you can nail a few drafts, not only does your team compete for a Super Bowl, but then you have this status that pretty much cements you where you are. I mean, if you get a handful of rookies every year that are contributors, let alone stars, that's pretty good job security. You look at guys like Howie Roseman and John Schneider, it's like they're pretty much set.
John Lynch?
Yeah. John Lynch is a guy that has been terrible in the first round of the draft, but he's had so many guys that he's found late in the draft that he's not going anywhere. And he's got one of the more secure jobs in the NFL because of it. So, yeah, and that's the other part. He picked Trey Lance. He moved up to get Trey Lance, and that was a terrible pick. But he figures it out on the back end.
And it didn't set them back by any measure.
Not even a little bit, because in the very end of the draft, he goes and gets Mr. Irrelevant, who turns into his $50 million quarterback. So I don't know why we put so much stock into the early round. I cannot imagine what would possess 30,000, let alone 320,000 people to go and stand there and listen to a stage announcement of this guy that you didn't barely watch play college football will be playing for this team that you don't care about.
Well, if I'm on Zoom school for a week, then I'm going to the draft.
if you're living in Pittsburgh and you're within walking distance, and Mom, I'm going to take my bike out and go to the draft. Okay, see you later. 320,000 people went to just day one. That's almost the population of Pittsburgh proper. It's the whole thing to me is crazy. And the first round draws so many people in, and we get so excited. We have to put our draft grades out immediately so people know who did well in the draft. We're not going to know for years. We're not going to know which team did well until they have success on the field. But how much of that do you attribute to it's a lot easier to draft when your team's already good versus the Rubik's Cube that is trying to figure out how to make a terrible football team good. And I'll tell you, man, the way that you see teams go up and down in the NFL, I swear sometimes it's by accident. Like, nobody knows. If we knew the formula, it'd be very easy to follow along. And this isn't just football. This is just sports. Trying to figure out the formula to actually win is an insane proposition. I think that is really what we love so much about it.
Agreed.
Last thing on the draft. Did more people cry this year than any other year?
I don't think
There's
so.
a lot.
There's a lot of tears,
players
but
crying. Maybe it was just that long hallway made it really easy. You
the
walk
long
past
hallway
all
really
the
draws
logos.
it out.
It was the dramatic presentation of doing that. I will never forget. We were watching the draft years and years ago, and I couldn't even tell you what draft it is. I could go and look it up because I know who the player is. But I remember Cedric Benson being drafted by the Bears, and he just starts balling. I'm like, man, that guy's going to be good. Look how much he cares. Look how
Was
much
that 2008?
Sure, bro. I don't know. I told you can look it up.
Same draft as Calvin Johnson?
He wasn't drafted 2 years in a row. So Cedric Benson gets drafted, starts balling, and I remember making the proclamation. He's going to be great because he cares so much.
2005 draft.
Okay, pull up his career numbers. I don't recall him being great.
Oh, Cedric Benson had a great career.
Did he? A great career. All right. Yeah, Hall of Famer.
2000, I believe he's in the class. Yep, 2000. 1 second.
Maybe I'm misremembering the career of Cedric Benson. Now I got to look this up. You're throwing me off.
Yeah, 6,000 career yards, 32 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's not a Hall of Fame career. Get out of here. Get out of here. He was fine. He would get drafted. It was the Bears, right, that drafted him?
Yep.
Yeah, and he didn't do anything with the Bears. I don't know if that's that great of a career. Here's his years with the Bears. As a rookie in 2005, he had 272 yards, followed by 647, 674, and then he went to Cincinnati, where he was better, grant you. He had 3,000-yard seasons in Cincinnati, finished with 1 year in was that in Green Bay, where he had 71 yards in 5 games.
He was never named to an NFL All-Pro during his professional career. All right.
There you go. Yeah, so
recorded 3 consecutive 1,000-yard rushing
seasons.
Okay, that's a great career.
Not with Chicago. He had a good run in a mediocre career.
3,000-yard rushing season. That's pretty good.
All right. Well, either way, the crying was not a catalyst into the Bears making a great pick. How about that? Is that fair? All right. Let's move on. We're going to go into the regular shenanigans of Happy Hour. We do it next. This is 105.1 The Fan.
Tonight, facing off against the San Antonio Spurs in San Antonio for Game 5. Tip-off at 6:30 over on ESPN as Portland comes into the contest as 11.5-point underdogs. Some more NBA playoff updates for you as the Orlando Magic extended their series lead yesterday, defeating the Detroit Pistons 94-88. Desmond Bane led the way for Orlando as he finished with 22 points, shooting 5 of 10 from the three to give the Magic the 3-1 lead over Detroit in the series. The Denver Nuggets kept their playoff hopes alive as they picked up the 125-113 victory last night to avoid elimination. Nikola Jokic posting his 23rd postseason triple-double as he finished with 27, 12, and 16 to keep the Nuggets afloat in the playoffs. The Oklahoma City Thunder wrapped up their clean sweep of the Suns last night as they posted a 131-122 victory over Phoenix. SGA leading the way once again for the Thunder as he finished with 31 points on 8 assists. Finally, some MLB news for you as the Philadelphia Phillies have fired manager Rob Thompson amid a rough start to the season. Thompson will be replaced by Don Mattingly, who will serve as the Phillies' interim manager through the remainder of the season. And for more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Lowercase from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
Hey, it's on. Look, it's on. Oh, it's on.
Hey! Happy Save the Frogs Day, all you beautiful radio listeners. Thank you for dropping in our little happy hour. We appreciate you listening. If you're watching us on YouTube, here is a hand gesture just for you. You're welcome. YouTubers, feel free to hit us up on the chat if you're listening on the radio on 105.1 FM, on 1080 AM, on 105.1thefan.com, Odyssey.com, the Odyssey app, or you just ask your smart speaker to settle the debate of whether or not Cedric Benson was good or not. Use the fan text line, 503-2GO-FAN. That's 503-864-6326. Use it. Use the chat. Use the text to share your thoughts, ask questions, solicit advice, or answer me this, dear listeners. What kind of cash did you make your first week on OnlyFans? Casey, my wife and I were having this debate. I've got pretty nice feet. Is there a market out there for me to jump on the OnlyFans, or would it be better if I had weird shaped Flintstone feet or something like that?
I've thought about it.
Yeah,
but I know that there's probably not a market for me.
Well, see, that's the first thing is you have to believe in yourself. That's step one. Well, our friend and yours, Shannon Elizabeth, the star of the original American Pie, she jumped on OnlyFans, and in 1 week, she's already made more than 7 figures, which is a weird way to title a headline. She has made 7 figures is perfectly fine. If she made more than 7 figures, that would be 8 figures. So maybe she has made tens of millions of dollars, but she has at least made millions of dollars in just the first week on OnlyFans. Ms. Elizabeth said, I've spent my entire career working in Hollywood where other people controlled the narrative and the outcome of my career. This new chapter is about changing that. I've been separated since September of last year. I feel stronger, clearer, and happier than I have in a very long time. And also, she's raking in some cash. So, OnlyFans fans, if you'd like to join and help her get to that 8 figures, you can jump on OnlyFans and do that. Is that something that you have any interest in? I have never delved into the OnlyFans realm, but I imagine it's more than just, there's some weird stuff going on there.
Most likely.
There's that, what's the new Elle Fanning thing? The Margot's Got Money Troubles on Apple TV, I think it is.
I've not seen it.
It's a new series. It's being promoted, but I believe that is the premise of that. It seems intriguing. I'd be very curious what people get into on that site. Because, listen, if you need nudity, if you need some excitement, it's pretty easily accessible without contributing funds to somebody's bank account. But, hey, Whatever gets you off, right?
Hey, support local businesses.
Support somebody that is feeling stronger, clearer, and happier than they have in a very long time. I mean, this is an uplifting story. Maybe you and I should get on there and see if it helps. The only thing that's stopping us is our belief in ourselves. So we'll see. Should we do that? But we'll both put our feet up there and see who does better?
That'd be a fun little bit.
There you go. We'll both put it. We'll work on that. We need to figure out the mechanics of it, but we'll figure out what we need to do.
We'll use the earnings to
get our feet up. We'll give it to charity. We'll give it to kids in need or something.
We'll take ourselves out to lunch.
Hey, listen. Kids in need, I guess that you qualify for that, young man. So I think that works pretty well. We'll see if we can get it done before June 23rd so that we can have our feet hanging out at the Fan Golf Classic presented by Toyota at Langdon Farms Golf Club. Foursomes are on sale now. You can choose between the morning and the afternoon round. Turns out, I was having a conversation this morning. Both rounds getting pretty close to being sold out. Just a couple left in the afternoon round. A few more left, but not a ton left in the morning round. It's the most fun day of golf with activations and tastings around the course and the infamous Angels Envy Bourbon Par 3 6th, where all the hosts, Dirt and Sprague, Danny and Patrick, myself, Isaac and Suk will all be posted up to heckle or admire your shots. Head to 1051thefan.com and click on the Fan Golf Classic logo for information and to sign up today. The Fan Golf Classic is, of course, presented by Toyota, but it's also brought to you by Vulcan Design and Construction, Henderson & Daughter Windows and Doors, George McCoy at Warren Allen Attorneys at Law, Battery Exchange, Master Dobel Tequila, Your Neighborhood Restaurant Group, Philbrook Law, 1-800-DIVORCE, Roto-Rooter, A. Legal Mezcal, and Window Nation. Went a little over on our bonus hour. So I think we need to dive right into some in case you missed it. In case you missed it, the Phillies have officially fired Rob Thompson today after a 9-19 start that has them tied with the Mets for the worst record in baseball. Thompson leaves with a .568 win percentage. It's actually the highest in modern team history, while the front office eats $34 million to release Taijuan Walker and Nick Castellanos. Is it just me, or did they lose their minds over at Citizen Bank Park? Did they accidentally borrow the process from the Sixers? Is that what they're trying? Bad idea. It's so bad that Alex Cora, who was fired by the Red Sox this week, reportedly turned down the job, said he'd rather take his $12 million buyout and stay home to not watch the Phillies play. He's not bad. It's like losing a job as the captain of the Titanic and being offered a job on the Hindenburg. I don't think I'd want that either. So you know who the new guy is? Did you see who the new guy is? It is bench coach Don Mattingly, a historic first. Don will answer directly to his own son, Phillies GM Preston Mattingly. Honestly, this sounds like payback for every time Preston got grounded as a kid. Sorry, Dad, I know you wanted a lefty at the deadline, but remember when you took my Xbox back in 2003? That's right. Instead, I'm going to DFA Schwarber. Take that, big jerk. In case you missed it, rookie quarterback Ty Simpson revealed that he had a covert pre-draft meeting with the Rams coach, Sean McVay, to keep the team's interest under the radar. The secrecy adds an element of cloak and dagger to the draft process, showing McVay's deep, hidden obsession for securing Simpson. People are acting like they've never had something like this happen before. How could you keep secrets? There's no way that I'm the only guy that ever dated an ugly girl and asked her to keep it a secret. There's no way. Actually, now that I think about it, I can remember at least half a dozen girls that asked me to keep the relationship a secret. So maybe that was lopsided the other way. In case you missed it, Phil Jackson broke his social media silence yesterday, offering two suggestions to, quote, fix the NBA. First, the 80-year-old Zen master said the league needs to widen the courts so that the three-point line is a uniform 23.9 feet everywhere. Second, he suggested the league could discourage teams from tanking by giving players Werther's Originals. I think these ideas are rock solid, and not out of date at all. He's so in touch with what's going on with the young kids today. So smart. In case you missed it, reports claim that Thunder star Shai Gilgeous-Alexander praised Dillon Brooks' character and play despite the Phoenix forward's villainous reputation across the league. But listen closely to what SGA actually said. Here's the quote. A great guy, no matter what people say about him. He's a really good guy when you get to know him. All this villain stuff, it doesn't faze me. I know exactly who Dillon is. He had a hell of a series. Keep getting better. I'm proud of him. You hear that? Keep getting better. I'm proud of him. Whoa, that is cold. SGA is 27. Brooks is 30. He just little brothered his Canadian teammate. That's 3 years older than him after sweeping in a tournament. I don't know if you speak Canadian, but that's the equivalent of dropping all 7 of Carlin's dirty words in a single insult. That is... Woo! Did him dirty. Keep getting better. I'm proud of him. Man, those Canadians are rough. In case you missed it, Austin Reeves is trending towards a return for Game 5 tomorrow night after missing nearly a month with an oblique strain. Meanwhile, over in the Rockets locker room, Kevin Durant is reportedly still hiding in his bedroom pouting, apparently refusing to talk to the big meanies who want to make it play with an ankle owie. Where's my... Oh, I don't know where my button is for KD. Oh, well, we move on. In case you missed it, this is the final one. I'm sorry. In case you missed it, during a game in Cleveland yesterday, an adult fan stole a home run ball right out of the hands of a little girl. Luckily, a Tampa Bay Rays reporter stepped in and gifted her 2 replacement baseballs. Everyone's calling it a nice gesture, but I see it for what it really is. The beginning of the end for this poor kid. He's giving her those baseballs, and you're just teaching her that, she doesn't have to have any personal responsibility. She's got to think that now people are just going to walk over and give her whatever she wants because she wasn't able to accomplish it herself. Someone's going to come along, and she doesn't have to fight for herself. Her grades are going to slip. She's going to be waiting for a pass because math is hard, and then she won't go to college, and she's going to be waiting for a knight in shining armor to show up and save her. Spoiler alert, that's not coming. She's going to think Chet's that hero, but soon enough she's going to be pregnant. Her parents are going to be pissed off at her. She's going to be on her own. Baby number 2 is going to be on the way, and the second dad won't be around either. Do the same thing Chet did and just take off. Fast forward 10 years, her only friend is a crack pipe, and she's going to be chasing the dragon the whole time because some reporter thought it was a bummer that a 30-year-old man beat her to a baseball. This is life, people. This is what happens. Is that just me being dumb? Is that not what we think is going to happen? Maybe I needed a stronger punchline on that. I don't know. I thought it was funny. And that's all that really matters. Thanks to our studio audience. Hey, we need to get to a little play-by-play back. That's the fun Tuesday segment we do every week at 2:30 where we listen to the best calls from the games that were in the weekend and see if we can use that to decide what's going to happen in the future. But right now we need to talk about a rough outing for Luis Castillo, what's going on in the NBA playoffs, and what else do we have here? Oh, the Angels Stadium is apparently perfectly appropriate for the team. We do all that in the Daily Buzz. It is next on Happy Hour. This is 105.1 The Fan.
The Fan is live.
Another bad outing for Luis Castillo. Tough spot to be in, pitching in the rain in Minnesota, but things did not go well. He gives up 7 over 5 innings. At least he made it 5 innings, I guess. But the Mariners dropped the season opener to the Twins 11-4. I mentioned this earlier, though. As bad as the Mariners' start has been, if they can win the next 2 in Minnesota, that will put them even to 500 at the end of the month of April. The interesting thing for Castillo is going to be what happens when Bryce Miller is ready to come back. You've seen Emerson Hancock look good in his starts. You've got the one off start for Wu, a couple little ups and downs from Kirby and Logan Gilbert. But if you look at their actual numbers, they are near the top of the league as far as a lot of the pitching stats go. And if you look at their stuff, it all looks good. Luis Castillo may end up being the odd man out.
Oh, hey, now. The Buzz.
Let's move on to your Portland Trail Blazers Game 5 tonight. Wemby is averaging 25 points, 11 rebounds, and 3.1 blocks during the series. Denny Advia averaging 24 points a game, 7 rebounds. We'll see if this Blazers team has some fight left in them. 2 really disappointing losses over the weekend, but you showed stretches at least where you can put up double-digit leads. Can they get a complete game before the series wraps and go out there and show some fight in that? I think that's maybe the best that we can hope for. If they get a win, obviously you get another chance to come back and possibly play in the Rose City. Depends on what happens. So I think that would be a win for everybody. Why not go out and watch them one more time at home this year? But I think it feels inevitable, and that's why I'm rooting for them. Crazier things have happened for sure.
The Buzz.
Oh, big Guardians news. I know that you're always excited when you talk about the Cleveland Guardians, but sometimes you're forced to. Oregon State alum and number 1 overall prospect in the Guardian system, Travis Bazzana, will be called up. He was the number 1 overall pick in the 2024 draft. He was the first Australian-born top pick in Major League Baseball, so he will be making his debut for the Guardians at second base. He was hitting .287 with 11 doubles, 2 triples, and 2 home runs in Triple-A so far this season. So go Aussie. Aussie, oi, oi, oi.
The Buzz.
All right, let's go over to the Angels in one of the least surprising stories. Not only are the Angels, but now health officials have shut down concession stands at Angels Stadium while they fight a rodent infestation. Congratulations, your ballpark is perfectly fitting for your franchise.
The Buzz.
All right, a little recap of what happened around the NBA yesterday. The Nuggets get one back from the Timberwolves. That series will go to a Game 6. Finally, Jokic has a game worth talking about for the right reasons. 27 points, 16 assists, and 12 rebounds. His 23rd career playoff triple-double. The Wolves also happen to commit 25 turnovers, so you can't give all the credit for the win to Jokic. When you shoot yourself in the foot that many times, things tend to look ugly.
The Buzz.
Backs against the wall for your Pistons, Casey. How are you feeling about the chances of the number 1 overall seed in the Eastern Conference bouncing back from a 3-1 deficit against the Orlando Magic?
Not great.
Well, they got a chance to do that tonight, but yeah, not looking, or they have a chance to do that this week, but not looking good for them. Let's go back to some baseball. It's over. I'm sorry. The Mason Miller scoreless innings streak ends finally at 34 2/3 inning. It is the 8th longest streak by a reliever since 1961. 10 saves, 28 strikeouts in 14 1/3 innings this season. So, still doing pretty okay.
The Buzz.
Name worth keeping an eye on if you're interested at all. Kansas City Chiefs sign the son of Emmitt Smith. E.J. Smith is going to be an undrafted free agent running back for the Kansas City Chiefs. Will he have the same historic career as his father based on his 205 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns as a senior? Makes me think that he probably will not eclipse the 18,355-yard career that his father had. But hey, that's just a guess. I mean, half of this draft and these signings, it's about where you end up, right? And if you're going to be successful anywhere, Kansas City seems like a good place to do it. And one more before we take off.
The Buzz.
Buddhist monks arrested at the airport for hiding 110 kilograms of cannabis in their luggage. Authorities in Sri Lanka arrested a large group of monks returning from Thailand after discovering massive amounts of drugs in their suitcases. 22 young men acting as monks are suspected to be part of a much larger multi-million-dollar international drug ring. Them drugs was valued at $3.45 million.
Each person's suitcase contained about 11 pounds.
Can I just tell you, this is based on no practical experience, but just a hunch that I have. You don't start by loading those suitcases with 11 pounds of drugs. You start with a little bit smaller quantity and you move up. I just would like to know how many times they haven't been caught doing this, because I feel like it's a lot. Let's walk over to the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk and see what we missed.
First on the Fan, undrafted free agent Diego Pavia, the first Heisman Trophy finalist to go undrafted since 2014, is
Blue Bombers,
a 3-year deal with the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, I thought you were going to go, he signed who was it? The Blue Bombers, Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Nope, Pavia was supposed to try out this weekend at Baltimore's rookie camp, but the team has reportedly signed him in advance.
Oh, look at that.
They have also signed...
They didn't want to compete with the Blue Bombers. Smart move by the Ravens.
They have also signed a 3-year deal with quarterback Joe Fagnano from UConn. Exactly. Let me do a little stat comparison for you, just to let
please.
Diego Pavia know how much money he got left out on. Pavia threw for, in his entire college career, has a completion percentage of 62.2%.
70% last year.
Threw for 10,255 yards in his 4 years as a starter.
Yeah.
Threw for 88 touchdowns and 27 interceptions. Great numbers for the Heisman finalist.
That's how you get to be a Heisman finalist.
Joe Fagnano, as a 2-year starter at Connecticut, threw for 5,252 yards, 48 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. So a guy that threw for
half as much,
5,000 less yards, and about 40-something less touchdowns.
It's pretty much half.
About the same price.
Yeah, well, you know what? The headline that I saw about Diego Pavia this morning was that he was the negotiation rights were secured by the Blue Bombers of the Canadian Football League. But hey, instead of the Blue Bombers, he'll be playing for the Purple Birds. So congratulations to him.
Again, a life of misery for you.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a good place. If you want to be a backup quarterback somewhere where you may get a chance because the starter is often injured, worse places to be than Baltimore.
And for more sports scores and stories in 60 minutes, I'm Casey Smith from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt, missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Sports Saturday with Joe Fisher.
7th.
That was from the White Sox game as Munetaka Murakami becomes the MLB's home run leader. This guy's just special, isn't he?
Well, yeah, but I'm looking and trying to figure out how many home runs he hit last year. It feels like he's going to hit 75 home runs in his first season. I think he's on pace for 65, but they seem to be coming in bunches. And trying to figure out, is it easier to hit off of American pitching? Because not really crushing it from an average standpoint. But, man, he squares up on the baseball when he hits it, and it is feeling a little bit insane. But I think we get caught up in this in baseball, and I see him cooling off as the season goes on, figuring out how to pitch to a guy. Eventually, you figure out what to throw him so that he does not keep racking up the dingers. But yeah, how many home runs did he have in his last? He had 56 in 2022.
So in 2025, he played for 2 teams, and he hit 24 home runs.
Okay, so yeah, I don't expect it to continue, but man, what a welcome to the big leagues. Let's just go out and get 12 in the first month with a couple days left. It's crazy.
Bauer's 2-2. Fastball taken on the outside corner, strike 3 called. It's a no-hitter for Trevor Bauer, the 3rd no-hitter in Long Island Ducks history, and the 10-year Major League veteran gets it done here in Lancaster as Long Island wins it 13-0 over the Stormers behind a 7-inning shutout from Trevor Bauer.
That was the broadcast from the Long Island Ducks, where Trevor Bauer is the starter for them.
How could you tell that it was Independent League Baseball just from the announcer's voice?
Well, Trevor Bauer just threw a no-hitter. It's
a seven inning no-hitter. They're playing a doubleheader, so they made both games 7 innings. So it's not even a full...
Are you really trying to not add a knock against Trevor Bauer right now for throwing 7 scoreless innings?
Yeah, listen, if there's a no-hit-her that we're talking about with Trevor Bauer, I think that there's a lot of other problems this guy has. He's playing independent baseball for a reason. He has the talent to be a major league pitcher, but he has the off-field issues to be playing at independent baseball. I don't know.
Did you happen to hear the press conference afterwards?
I did not hear the press conference, though, but I did see some comments where the celebration was quite muted by his teammates, because I don't think anybody's really that impressed with the guy. His baseball talent, sure, but not the guy. What did I miss?
I think it is the exact opposite, actually.
Oh, really?
I think his teammates are very happy for him, showed a lot of excitement for him, but he pretty much said in his press conference that, again, I don't really have imaging problems because I see myself the way I see myself.
Oh, good for him.
It's you guys.
Yep.
Can you do me a little bit of a favor and help me with my imaging problem?
Sure, bud.
That'd be nice.
Sure, bud. Yeah. Well, when there's an investigation that gets you tossed from baseball, I feel like maybe that they found some stuff that we didn't need to dig into. Oh, yeah, well, maybe you're right. Then I feel bad for the guy. But, yeah, no, I'm not going to celebrate a 7-inning. The video was not a team celebration, at least the one that I saw, so.
Asumu crossover, drives, gets inside, layup, he banks it home. And a whistle and a timeout. And he's doing it in game 4.
Hey, Minnesota, you found one. And his name is Ayo. Doing big.
Asumu drives at Jokic. Double team, comes back, 5 on the 24. Dosunmu puts up a 3. Bang! Ayo Dosunmu does it again! This is...
That was a highlight from Ayo Dosunmu's career-high 43-point game off the bench in Game 4 against the Nuggets. I'm trying to find the total list right now, but I believe it's the second most points in a playoff game for a player off the bench in NBA history.
Yeah, it's quite the achievement. What was the final score on that one?
The final in that one,
it was 125-113. So they still lost by 12. It's fun to watch and go out there and have your little insanity moment. And I hope this leads to more minutes and, a starting role in the future or whatever. But again, he averaged 14 points during the season. He's a good player. You give these guys opportunities, and any one of them can go out.
Did you say they lost that game?
The Nuggets won the game.
Game 4?
Oh, am I looking at the wrong game?
No, I think you're probably looking at game...
Maybe I have it backwards. I didn't watch Game 4, so I didn't watch either game.
It wasn't the last game, but it was the game before that. So the last game, Denver won, but in the game where he dropped 43 off the bench.
Okay.
They won 112-96.
Well, then my apologies. So, yeah, you brought this up earlier. I've not been following that series nearly as closely as I would like to. I'm spending more time at lacrosse. So my
it
apologies.
is the most bench points in a playoff game in NBA history, only second to Fred Brown, who scored 45 points in 1976.
Give him props. I apologize. I retract my earlier statement. Here's your props for going out and leading them to a game, and then we'll see if you win the series. So, does it turn into something bigger?
Castle gets it across the timeline. And right in his grill is Avdia. Castle somehow keeps the dribble alive. Goes around Wembanyama, drives the paint, and gets to the basket. Counted and one. And then Avdia shoves Castle. Castle shoves him back. Avdia did not like the fact that Castle took the ball and put it at the chest of Avdia. No one has come off the bench right now for either team. As coaches step in, technicals will be called.
That's going to be
go to their respective benches.
That's going to be an unsportsmanlike tech on Stephon Castle to start with. You can't, after that, put the ball into the chest of your opponent.
That was from a few nights ago when the Blazers lost at home to the Spurs, and Stephon Castle and Deni Avdia got into it. A little bit of a scuffle after, I believe there was 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter when that happened.
Yeah.
Does that add a little more juice to tonight?
Well, I'm going to go back to what did I tell you? I mean, I know that we had it earlier in the show of how Phil Jackson is going to fix the NBA. I'm telling you, man, more scrapping. And it feels like there's a lot more contention in some of these games, but the physical play is something I think that fans crave. You're watching some of the best athletes in the world playing, under these intense circumstances. Don't bottle up those emotions. Go out there and get eye to eye, face to face, a little more shoving, a little more pushing. If there's more fighting in the game, dude, I'll tell you, you get me a goalie fight in hockey, I am going and watching that replay 3, 4, 5, 6 times. I have no problem when it gets a little bit heated. It just means the guys care. I'm all for it.
Do you think the energy carries over into tonight?
I hope so. Like I said, I think if you look at this, can win or lose, can the Blazers play 4 quarters? I think that's what I would like to see would be a good way to go out is if you lose a close game, and if you get a win, carry on the season would be a great addition and changes the perspective we have on this team when we look back at the year in review.
That's all I got for you.
All right. Well, let's go this direction. How do you feel about self-driving cars invading the Rose City? That'll be one more literally for the road when we do it next. This is 105.1 and the Fan Sports Network.
The Fan.
All right, kids, if you missed anything from the show or the week of shows, the month, the year, go back and listen to the podcast. It's available 1051thefan.com, Odyssey.com, the Odyssey app. Or you can go back and compare Casey's mock podcast to the actual podcast and see how accurate he was on all of the takes that we took as we were taking takes. Lowercase, what are people saying on the fan text line and the YouTube chats that we need to address?
Got someone that says, so Vrabel sought counseling in the polygamy capital of the U.S.?
Well, I think you can count on, Utah for being able to do counseling on Sundays as well. I think they're very adamant about working on Sundays. So, yeah, going up for a weekend to Park City to do counseling, I'm sure it was really effective. And let's get him back to work. I think, I think this Filetgate is overblown, and we just need to move on from it. So just pay no attention. They're getting ready for who's their first opponent for the year. Isn't that the Bill Belichick move? We're just focused on whoever we're playing first.
I have no idea.
Yeah, we're just focused on mini camps. We're just focused on OTAs.
And then we got another text that says hogwash. Lynch gets bailed out because he has a great coach that can hide his mistakes.
Oh, so we got I wonder if this is a 49ers
barking
fan?
up the Shanahan tree.
No, I get that, but I still have to have players. And they have found some gems late in drafts, and that certainly makes a difference. So I don't know. It always feels like you can't have one without the other. And say what you want about, Kyle Shanahan being a genius. When you get into those big game moments, if you have a good enough roster to get you to the Super Bowl, that's not the GM's fault when you can't get over the hump. Am I right?
True.
All right, so we'll go with that. Let's do one more Well, get ready to start seeing the Waymo brand in the Portland area. They are bringing up the self-driving cars to start mapping the streets to prepare for eventual public service up here in the Pacific Northwest. Have you ever been in a Waymo?
I have not.
Well, I'll tell you. So we went to, went to Scottsdale, but flew into the Phoenix airport maybe a year ago. Year and a half ago. Doesn't matter when. The wild thing is when you show up at the airport and there are just cars, no people in the cars circling the airport. So they just sit there because same rules apply. There's no stopping. There's no loading, unloading, whatever. So you just have the Waymos just patiently circling the airport and waiting for a fare. And then as you are ready, just jump in. And we ended up getting an Uber the first, the initial trip back to the hotel. And I didn't have the Waymo app because not living in Phoenix, why would I sign up for it? But we ended up going out one night with some locals and grabbed one of those. And I sat shotgun in the driverless car, and that
how awkward was that?
Well, we weren't driving for a reason, so we'll say the inebriation level was at least at an 8 out of 10, we'll say. So it was already going to be odd from that standpoint. But the wild thing is they have to have all the controls for somebody to take over if entirely necessary. So nobody sits where the driver would sit, still has a steering wheel and pedals. But the wild thing is all the levers and all the steering wheel actually moves. So as the car is driving itself, it looks like there's a little bit of an invisible driver in there anyways.
Just an invisible man.
Yeah, so that is kind of wild. And the temptation for drunk Luke, now, sober Luke would never even consider something like this, but the temptation for drunk Luke to reach over and grab that steering wheel was very high. Luckily, he was smart enough not to do that, but it is a very bizarre experience. But some of the safety stats for these driverless cars, at least the Waymo brand, other brands have, of course, collapsed because of major flaws in their design and their planning. They report that they have had a 13-fold decrease in serious injury crashes compared to human drivers. So they also claim to be a green transportation leader. So obviously you're more efficient when you're not over-revving and doing all of the things that would happen. They're electric cars, so they're going to be, more friendly to the environment in that capacity.
Naturally.
Anyways. I have always thought for the daily commute, I'm kind of in favor of this, man. I like the idea that you can be a passenger, like I drive.
How far did you drive in it?
We drove across town, for the downtown area in Phoenix out to the resort we were staying at in Scottsdale. So I don't know how long the drive was, 15 minutes or whatever it is. But the idea of being in a car flying solo where you've got, the freedom to sit back and, work on your laptop or make some calls or do whatever it is you need to do, trade that in for a 35-minute daily commute. I mean, that's pretty good. If I have to be somewhere for work or whatever it is, I've always kind of liked the idea of it. I had a friend years ago that signed up for the Uber membership, and they just drew a circle around the city. I don't know if you've known anybody that's ever done this, but they just draw a perimeter, and if you're inside that perimeter, this is when he lived in the Pearl District, if you take a ride within that, it's like a monthly subscription fee. So it didn't cost him anything per ride. So if you took 10 rides in a night or 10 rides in a month, it cost you the same amount. But because he didn't really leave the city, he walked most places that he went to. And when he drove most of the time, it was somewhere. He's like, why am I paying for parking?
That's a really sweet deal.
Yeah. So if Waymo were to do something like that, I don't know, man. I don't really see... In my mind, I don't see the need for a bunch of resistance to this. We've already got Uber. We've already got everything else. I know that it affects the gig economy and people that go out there and drive. There's some, revenue that they're going to lose in doing all of that. But the idea that a car can drive itself a lot safer than I can, yeah, I'm with you there. I mean, hell, if our heroes like Tiger Woods can't get safely from point A to point B, I mean,
he should be their biggest sponsor.
Yeah, just wearing a Waymo hat and out in a little self-driving golf cart when he gets on the senior tour, because I think you can use those, right? Can't you use golf carts get an exemption?
I don't know. Can you?
I don't know. I think it's something that you can do. I don't know. Time will tell. But if self-driving cars show up to Portland, I don't know how y'all feel about it, but I'm kind of behind the idea. The other thing that would be really interesting, and this is something that I've kind of imagined, and it's been talked about. I've read articles about it and stuff because it is a subject that gets me interested. Imagine how different roads would need to be set up if the cars were as aware of each other as these cars are compared to the way that we do it. I mean, think of how much extra room they give for human error. Drive I-5 north or south when you head home today, or maybe you're sitting there right now. Take a look and go, how many cars could you fit if you weren't worried about the person next to you doing their makeup right now as they're on their way home, to see their family and want to make sure they look good when they walk in the door, so it doesn't look like they've been crying all day because their boss is a jerk and's been screaming at them. So take a look at that person and see how much they're paying attention to the road versus having these cameras that look in, around, past all the cars that are around them and can drive safely. So the infrastructure is a long way off from getting there because there's always going to be people that insist on driving. But if you had lanes dedicated to self-driving cars, it'd be a whole different system, man. It's essentially building trains without needing the tracks. So I don't know. The future is here. I mean, AI is doing our jobs for us. I mean, this entire show, we're not real people unless you're watching YouTube. Then you can see that we're full of all the flaws that you have. But AI can go and imitate anything we do. Cars can drive for themselves.
If I was AI, I wouldn't have gotten my Conca nipple pick wrong.
That's a fair point. I wonder how they're doing. Are people killing it in prediction markets with AI tracking and using all the statistics? Because that's really, we've talked about it on this show. I don't know if you and I have talked about it. The Bill Walters book, Gambler, A Life at Risk. Have you read that?
I believe we have talked about it.
Have you read it?
No, not yet.
I highly recommend it. So he basically, the way it's set up and the way the book is promoted, he reveals his secret to beating the sports books. You know what he does? More research than the sports books. He has an entire team that just does what the sports books do, only better. And then he looks for half-point advantages with a sophisticated system that constantly monitors where the lines go if they move. And he tries to get updates on weather and injury and whatever reports that they're using faster than they do, and then having his team go out there and react faster. It's not a secret. You outwork them. So I wouldn't be surprised if somebody's got it all figured out using AI to go out and figure it out. So Thank you to all the people that listen to the show. Thank you to all the computers and AI that listen to the show to steal my personality so you can use it against me as we move forward in the future. Of course, thank you, Casey Smith. And of course, thank you, Isaac Robb. We're all done for now. Bye-bye.
There's something you forgot, and that's to laugh and smile and dance and sing when you're feeling...